I'm the Beretta Guy.
Well, hi everybody. It's Saturday night, and I'm down here in the basement with my Mossberg 500 shotgun, and we're going to learn how to reassemble it. Hopefully, you saw the videos on how to field strip it and how it works. If not, why don't you pause this video and go back and watch those two, because they're pretty interesting. Especially if you've never worked with one before, or if you're new to this. But if you're here for the ride and you want to see how to reassemble it, then keep on watching. Now, if you just got this gun and this is your first time reassembling, the task can be a little daunting, but don't worry, it's not as hard as it seems. Think of it as like a jigsaw puzzle. All the pieces are pretty precise, and you got to get them exact. They only go together one way, and that's pretty much the way the Mossberg is. But once you learn the secret and you do it once or twice, then you got it, and it's not a problem. The first thing you want to make sure of is that the safety is on. Now, this isn't a safety thing because we know the gun's not loaded, right? But in order for the elevator to fit back in, the safety has to be on. So you want to make sure that it's back and the red dot is covered, which it is. So now we can proceed. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the elevator, and you see it's got two sides. There's a cradle side, and then there's the flat loopy side. So we're going to put it in with the gun upside down, just like this. And to do so, we're going to stick it down in here and give it a squeeze it together. If you don't know, it's going to come up into these upper holes here and here. So we'll give it a squeeze, and it'll snap right into place. And when it does, push the elevator all the way down and let it seat at the bottom. So once it's in, those pins should be nice and flush there and there. Okay, step number 2 is the bolt. So on your bolt, you have the locking lug there, and it's kind of spring loaded in a way. Just push it down so that it's inside, and then extractors go towards the muzzle. Muzzle is the end of the barrel, and it just goes right in the hole where the barrel goes, and it will seat up in your receiver underneath. Let me get zoomed in here. Might be a little too much. Do you see the rails right here? What I want you to do is I want you to bring the bolt forward now. Forward is this way. I want you to bring it forward until these lugs right here are lined up with the edge of this rail right here. So once they look like they're pretty close to being in line, that's about where I want the bolt to be. Now the fore end, it's got that hole in it. That tunnel goes over the magazine tube, just like that, and slides in. Now these rails go in the two little slots that are in the end of your receiver, so you're going to have to push down on them and guide them into the hole, and then push it in, and your receiver, then your fore end will stop. Once it's in, then you'll have to put some downward pressure on the two rails, and then kind of push on your fore end, and it'll continue going in. Now, you see the see the rail slide in. Now you want to take it, you see that notch right there? You want to get that so that the notch is kind of lined up with the end of the rail right there. You see that? Right there. That's perfect. So the rail, the bolt, and the fore end are all in line right there. So then we're going to take our slide and it's going to go with this downward. Remember where it goes in the notch? Right in there. That notch goes right in that hole, right in between those lugs. So we're going to put it in the opening and we're going to slide it in there. Now if you got to move it back a little bit, then go ahead and move it back until you can get that bolt in there. And then everything will kind of go together once you get it just right. And when it does, everything will fall in and it should be able to slide right under that rail just like that. And then you can kind of move it around a little bit. So once it goes into the slides, you're good. Alright? Perfect. Now the hard part's done. Okay, so now we got to put in the shell interrupter and the shell stop. The interrupter has the little pin on it. See that? And that goes in this hole right here. So it just kind of sits down in there. And you'll see it'll just kind of fall into place once you get that lined up. Now the hooks, see the hook on that? It goes inward and towards the barrel. And then see it went right in the hole and filled in right there. Now the slide stop, or the cartridge stop, also the hook goes inward. It will sit in the other rail on the other side and it just kind of sits in there. So you want to have your receiver kind of tilted back so it doesn't fall out, because it's just sitting in there with gravity. Now you take a trigger group and see these little notches on the corners? They hook right underneath. They hook right underneath the receiver edge right here. So you hook them right underneath here. Now if your bolt's not in the right spot, it should be lined up so the slide is like lined up with the front of those rails that we've been lining up with. Place your trigger group in at an angle like that. See that? And just kind of let it tilt its way down. Do not force it. If it doesn't want to go, it doesn't want to go. So then it'll go like that, and it's kind of under spring tension right there. That's normal. So hold it down, then take your trigger pin that we took out and put it in the same direction. If it doesn't go directly in, just kind of let loose on your trigger a little bit and get it to where it wants to go in. If it still gives you a hard time, then take it out and reverse it. It should go in there with almost no resistance. Get it to where it's flush on both sides. Just like that. See that? And see that. Okay. Your gun is almost reassembled. Leave your bolt halfway back. Fit your barrel in there and get it all the way back in there. And your screw will be lined up for the hole. Go ahead and start screwing it into the magazine tube and it'll draw the barrel in tight. So you just, now you hear that? This has like a serrated face on it, which creates its own little lock nut, which creates a positive lock on it. So you get it to where just 2-finger tight and it'll create a positive seal on it and your barrel's in. That's all you need to do. Don't put pliers on it. Don't sit there and tighten it down with an inch of life. It'll be next to impossible to get off. At that point, we want to function check it. So let's close the chamber by pushing it forward. Check, make sure the safety's working. Trigger will not pull. Let's take the safety off. Pull the trigger. It worked. Pull it back. Rack it in. Pull the trigger. It worked. Do it one more time. Apply the safety. Trigger will not squeeze. And you are good to go. Congratulations, you just reassembled your Mossberg 500. I hope that wasn't too painful to watch. This is the Beretta Guy. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.